Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy, Bertha Gaming HD here today. In today's video, the live service model is basically a graveyard at this point, right? And I mean that literally. Concord launched after 8 years of development and shut down within 14 days. X Defiant dead after 378 days. Anthem servers went offline on January 12th of this year's. Marvel's Avengers gone. Babylon's Fallen didn't make it to its first birthday. And High Guard, made by many veterans from Apex Legends and Titanfall, launched January 26th and shut down on March 12th. That is 45 days, and Sony just took a $765 million impairment loss on Bungie for the second time in a row. Somehow, these corporations still haven't figured out why this just keeps happening. Now, look, I want to be fair here, right? Because when the live service model actually works, it genuinely works. You look at games like Fortnite, the early days of Destiny, and even a game like Path of Exiles, games that kept millions of players coming back for years, new seasons, regular updates. You felt like you were getting something real for your time and money. The concept makes total sense on paper. Instead of selling you one game for $60 and move on, you build a community. You keep it alive. You keep it growing. That's a cool idea. But here's what nobody in these corporate boardrooms seem to understand. It only works when the game is actually good, fundamentally good. You can't slap a battle pass on a broken half-finished mess and expect people to stick around for years. That is not how players work. That has never been how players actually work. So let's just go through the list because it is genuinely embarrassing. Concord, 8 years of development. 8 years. Reports of a budget ranging from 200 million to an upward of 400 million. Sony has never officially confirmed the numbers, but even at the low point, it was struggling. They launched it on August 23rd of 2024, charging players $40 to buy it. $40. In a market full of free-to-play shooters, and at launch, it peaked at 697 concurrent players on Steam. Not 700,000, not 70,000, 697. But the total copies sold across all platforms was an estimated 25,000 copies. But on September 6th, 14 days after launch, the servers went dark. PlayStation pulled the plug and issued refunds and shut down the entire studio behind it. 8 years, $40, 14 days. The next game on this list was X Defiant, Ubisoft's attempt to build a Call of Duty competitor. Had a relaunch, decent buzz. People were actually playing it, but on December 3rd of 2024, Ubisoft announced that they were shutting it down and the servers were going to stay up through the end of season 3. And on June 3rd of 2025, exactly 378 days after launch, the lights went out. When it went down, nearly 300 people lost their jobs. Ubisoft San Francisco, the studio that built it, closed its doors entirely, and that was the end of X Defiant. The next game to get hit by this live service was BioWare's Anthem, the same studio behind Mass Effect and Dragon Age, which launched in 2019. Broken at launch, no endgame, terrible loot, performance issues across the board. Players were gone within weeks. EA tried to rebuild it with Anthem next, then quietly canceled it in 2021. The game sat there for years with no updates, no content, nobody playing it. And then finally, on January 12th of this year, the servers went offline permanently because it was an online only. It is now completely unplayable, not just unsupported, completely gone. One of the most respected studios within gaming history. Marvel's Avengers is next to follow on this game, which was one of the most recognizable IPs in entertainment history, developed by Crystal Dynamic and Square Enix, which launched back in 2020, struggling from day one, and on September 30th of 2023, it was delisted from every digital storefront and support ended completely. You can't buy it anywhere. It just doesn't exist anymore, which surprisingly for me, I actually own a physical copy of this game. That was just gonna be a coaster holder for the rest of my life. Joke's on me, I guess, right? But Square Enix does not get a break here in this video, y'all, because back in March of 2022, they launched a game called Babylon's Fallen, which I'm pretty sure most of us has probably forgotten at this point. But the servers ended up closing on February 27th of 2023. Didn't even reach its first anniversary, and that means Square Enix appears on this list twice. Babylon Fallen and Marvel's Avengers, two catastrophic live service failures from the same publisher, probably has to be the most embarrassing thing to hear, guys. And then there's Highguard, the one of the most recent and honestly the most embarrassing. Developer Wildlight Entertainment, staffed by veterans from Apex Legends and Titanfall. These are the people who know how to make shooters. Announced at the Game Awards on December 11th of 2025, later launching on January 26th, on the 26th of this year as a free-to-play title, and on March 12th of this same year, the servers closed 45 days later after launch. Not 2 years, not 2 months, 45 days announced, launched, and killed with 3 months total. That has to be embarrassing, guys. I'm sorry. And look, before y'all think I'm just here to clown on these studios, I want to talk about why this is happening because this is not bad luck. There is a clear repeating pattern here, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Here's what I actually think is going on. These companies, EA, Ubisoft, PlayStation, Square Enix, they look at what Fortnite was doing and they completely lost their minds. And I get it, they are businesses, they are corporations. But Fortnite has made over $24 billion since launch. That's not a typo. 24 billion. And every single executive at these major publishers looked at the numbers and said, "We need to do that." And what they missed, or what they chose to ignore, is that Fortnite got there by being a genuine fun game first. The money came after. The battle passes worked because people were already addicted. They couldn't reverse that equation. You can't build out the monetization infrastructure and figure out whether the game is actually fun later. It doesn't work that way. I think a lot of y'all felt this firsthand, right? You boot up a new game, boot up the beautiful, great production values, and within the first 5 minutes, You get a season pass screen, a premium currency store, a starter bundle, a battle pass, a founders edition offer, and a limited time cosmetic before you even play a single match. And you're sitting there thinking to yourself, is this a game or is this a storefront with a game attached to it? Because that is a question sometimes people tend to ask themselves, especially within this live service era we are in. Also, Sony's situation is honestly one of the most embarrassing chapters this whole story. They bought Bungie, the studio behind Halo and Destiny, for $3.6 billion in 2022. Their entire justification for the purchase was breaking into the live service space in a serious way. For the financial year of 2025, which ended on March 31st, Sony reported a $765 million impairment loss on the acquisition. And it just kind of shows that this is because Destiny is underperforming, because Marathon hasn't delivered. $765 million written off in a single financial year on top of the 3.6 billion they originally spent. And the studios that are succeeding in the live service right now, Helldivers 2 and Marvel Rivals, they launch as genuinely fun games. Let me repeat that, genuinely fun games, not as monetization platforms, just fun games, and everything else followed naturally from that. So, what's the actual fix here? Honestly, I think the industry needs to stop treating live service as a business model and start treating it as what it should actually be, a byproduct of marketing something people genuinely love. It should happen organically, not be the strategy you center the entire production around before you figure out if the game is even worth playing. Look at what smaller studios have been doing: Hades, Deep Rock Galactic, Lethal Company. These weren't built to be forever live service games. They were built to be great games. Let me repeat that, great games. And some of them naturally grew into something with a longer life because the foundation was actually there. That's the correct way to run a live service model, a live service game in the year 2026. These publishers really need to wake up, guys. They need to brutally look at themselves in the mirror and be honest with themselves. Not every game is Fortnite. Not every game is World of Warcraft. Throwing thousands of millions of dollars at an underdeveloped, undertested live service project isn't not just failing, it's destroying studios, costing thousands of people their livelihoods, and burning through money at a rate that is genuinely unsustainable. Live service bubble is not popping. It's already been popped. It's actively been deflating for years now. And any publisher that is still doubling down on this model in 2026 without a genuinely good game as the foundation, they are next. The writing is on the wall, and these publishers really need to wake the fuck up. But as always, guys, I want to hear from you. Do you think the live service model is completely dead? Or is there still a version of it that can work? If studios actually get back to the basics, drop it in the comments. Let me know what your current thoughts are. But it's been your boy, Brotherhood Gaming H, everybody. And if you are new to the channel, please don't forget to subscribe, like, hit them bell notifications so you never miss an upload. And I will catch you in the next one. Peace out and goodbye, everybody.